Good morning. Dumelang. Molweni. Sanbonani. Vuemure. Absheni. Ida. Fellow South Africans, today is not a day for celebration. Today is not a day of just determined to continue dividing the country along racial lines, pitting whites against black, Indians against colored, and every race against other races. Crucially, however, the South Africans also knew that the only way the system and the National Party's tyranny could be undone was if they worked together, which they did. What actually happened is common cause. About 5,000 fellow South Africans attended at the Sharpeville police station to surrender themselves for defying the country's laws by refusing to carry the dehumanizing dompas which most of us carried. It is a historic fact that 69 of that number, our fellow South Africans, were ruthlessly butchered by the police in a barbaric act of fear, force, and vengeance. This grossly violent act was heard in other parts of the country as well. To this day, our beloved country battles the scars of the events of that day. We are all traumatized people. We remained a traumatized people. We collectively suffer from the emotional and political weight of the events of 21st of March 1960 and the many other traumas which have been visited upon us over the years, up to including 1994. Actioners, South African people of the world, I would be lying if I said our traumas came to an end in 1994. They did not. Yet, we were hopeful, excited, and expectant. On 27 April 1994, we came out in millions and rightly replaced an illegitimate government with a democratic government, hoping for restoration. We hoped for progress and for widespread access to opportunities of all kinds. We left to the democratically elected government the work of turning the state around, to re-engineer it, and compel it to recognize the dignity of each and every person within the man-made borders of our beautiful land. Indeed, we were now free from the clashes of the state that used the law to keep us apart in our homes, workplaces, and in our recreational areas. Today, we can rightfully commemorate and continue to mourn those who were murdered while peacefully fighting for our collective freedoms. The post-1994 government began with a wind beneath its wings on the favor of the overwhelming majority of not just us, the people of South Africa, but for many allies around the world. Shortly after assuming office, a rush of new laws were enacted to change our society. Chief amongst them being our world-renowned Constitution, our guiding social compact, which governs the various relationships between the people and the state, as well as between various arms of government and as between individual persons. But, dear friends, just as quickly as our new government began to reorientate the state, some amongst those in government immediately set about the evil work of undoing what little progress was being made. On this day, we can rely on the instructive words of Sidney J. Harris when he said, and I'd like to quote, "History repeats itself, but in such cunning disguise that we never detect the resemblance until the damage is done," unquote. The evidence of this and state of affairs in our nation is all around us, and the examples are abundant. As early as 1996, our now Minister of Cooperative Governance, ANC's Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, was embroiled in a corruption scandal regarding the financing of Sarafina II. Quickly, wait, is this one working? Quickly thereafter, the arms deals followed and hounds us up to today. Many have been convicted, imprisoned, and subsequently released from jail from their crimes related to that unbelievable, corrupt, and possibly misguided for their employer. Where was the respect for their human rights? The facts speak for themselves. The human rights of all of us, all these people, have been betrayed. Tell me now, how can the people look at the democratic government of today and see it as being different to the apartheid government? How can people believe in the better life for all promised to them in 1994? It's indeed better. In democratic South Africa, the people of Mfuleni all can drive on streets flooded with raw sewer. I'm not a betting man, but I know as a fact that 28 years into democracy, the people of Sharpeville, in the Val Triangle towns of Vereeniging, Vanderbijlpark, and Sasolburg, are demonstratively worse off than they were pre-1994. I know as a fact, though, I'm not proud to admit it, that the people of Giyani, Makhando, and Kwamanyazane are worse off. Actioners, South Africans, and people of the world, it gives me no joy to know that this pattern is replicated in many parts of our country. In Guyana and Limpopo, the people are still fighting to be provided with water, while billions of their money have been looted by tenderpreneurs and their friends in government. Where's the respect for human rights? In Makhanda, in the Eastern Cape, the residents had to go to court to force the municipality to simply clean the town, a most basic duty of any municipality. Where is the respect for their human rights? In Kwamanyazane, in Mpumalanga, the residents are subjected to daily water cutoffs because the government does not possess the ability to effectively manage the water supply. Where is the respect for their human rights? In Soweto and many other low-income suburbs and townships, Eskom subjects the residents to daily electricity outages. Where is the respect of their human rights? In such circumstances, it is surprising that we are happy today and here today we, as South Africans, as the most unequal society on earth. It is no wonder that we have the highest sustainable unemployment rate in the world. Actioners, look around you. Stats SA tells us that almost 5 out of every 10 people you see are unemployed today. Our education system is so broken that every year almost half of our children do not stay in school from grade 1 until matric. Look around you again. The same Stats SA tells us that 7 out of every 10 of our young people you see are unemployed and fast becoming unemployable. What dignity exists in such circumstances? Does this tell you our rights are appreciated, or that our human rights respected and allowed the space to flourish? How can we be free when we are the rape and murder capital of the world? We do not walk freely in our neighborhood streets. It is bad and scary during the day and many times worse in the night time. Our towns are filthy and have become overtaken by criminal syndicates. These syndicates gingerly run their criminal operations with the support of many corrupt policemen and are evidently overseen by corrupt politicians who rule over them, law-abiding citizens. What has become of our fundamental human rights? What has become of our dignity as South Africans? I can tell you one thing. We have been betrayed. Our democratically elected ANC-led government has betrayed all of us. The other political parties who are supposed to exercise oversight over the governing party, including the ANC, have also betrayed us. They have betrayed our hopes. They have betrayed our dreams. They have betrayed our aspirations. They have betrayed our faith. They have betrayed our dignity, and most painfully, they have betrayed the very thing we were promised in 1994. What is that? A non-racial, unified, inclusive nation that would allow each South African, whether a citizen or a resident, the opportunity to live in safely, benefit economically, and thrive in all aspects of human development. Actioners, South Africans, and the people of the world, this is the real state of our nation today. We have become a disgrace, a laughingstock, and a country quickly losing hope and tearing apart at the seams. Each and every day, there's a protest in any one part of the country. These protests are often related to some or other failing of the government. The ANC-led government has failed to put the interest of South Africans first. The ANC-led government, by its ineptitude, corruption, and the interest of political expediency, has ensured that South Africans are at the back end of what belongs to us South Africans. It is not at all surprising, therefore, that when we as ActionSA stand proudly and advocate for South Africans, the very same ANC and other major political parties call us xenophobic. Time and again since 2016, I have stood on many podiums and I've said over and over again that South Africa was built on the back of migrants, and we as ActionSA want people of the world to come to South Africa. But they must do so legally, and when they are here, respect our laws. They must respect our laws, and that is as simple as that. No self-respecting country would allow anything to the contrary to that, and we will not allow it here, not under ActionSA watch. Saying this does not make us xenophobic. These are simple and basic principles of governance in a globalized world. But if anyone wants to misconstrue it as xenophobic, then let it be so. Listen to me when I say, if the ANC or any other party are happy to continue betraying South Africans on the back of some pie-in-the-sky view of what it means to be truly to advance the interests of South Africa, then let them do so. As ActionSA, we will not be part of that. Friends, I know as well as you know that all of the accusations, vitriol, and nonsense we are regularly subjected to do so to discourage us. We are not discouraged and we are not shaken. We know exactly where they come from and why they do what they're doing. We know very well that they originate from the vulgarizing of our position on immigration and a belated appreciation of the extent to which South Africans are hurtful. South Africans are hurtful of being overlooked, hurtful of being taken for granted, hurtful of not being cared for by their own government and other political parties. Our position has always been clear, as I've described above. We want an immigration system that works. We want an immigration system that works. It is a position founded in our constitution, law, and rationality. Our position recognizes the human rights of both South Africans and all migrants, legal, documented, or otherwise. These rights are inherent and exist by mere virtue of being a human right. Lastly, it throws forward into the future, seeking to get everybody to imagine a different, better South Africa. It seeks to ensure the respect of our current laws, refining them to be fit for purpose, not simply exist as words on paper. The issue is about jobs and safety. Friends, we are all betrayed by this seemingly deliberate mismanagement of immigration, both South Africans and immigrants. While South Africans are not served by a limitation of services and opportunities as a result of the mismanagement of this crisis, immigrants themselves are even more underserved. The fact of the mismanagement of the system by the ANC-led government, while other political parties have looked on as an unforgivable betrayal of the rights of all South Africans. If you are an immigrant and you do not have papers, you are expected to a greater degree of vulnerability to abuse by unscrupulous employers. They can mistreat you in the workplace, knowing very well that you have very little, if any, recourse. What happens? They mistreat you and try to report them. And when you try to report them to the authorities demand what? Papers. What happens when you try to get basic healthcare services as human right? The authorities demand what from you? Papers. What happens when you are trying to come into the country legally, bringing your much needed scarce skills for use in our advanced industries? The authorities demand from you what? Papers. You cannot properly enjoy which is due to you by right in the absence of proper papers in South Africa. As I've shown, even when you have the right papers, the system is so broken, so frustrating that it places even you at risk of grave legal consequences and installs the needed development of our country. Your situation is even worse when you are in the country illegally, as the broken system forces you into dangerous situations, jeopardizing the very same human rights we'll speak of today in glowing terms. I have previously spoken about how, as a result of this, some people end up becoming human trafficking statistics. Even those corrupt elements in the police end up extorting migrants, legal or otherwise, because they know that Home Affairs is so inept that the migrant will struggle to find recourse. I will also like to state what should be a common cause effect, that the safety of all people who reside in South Africa is related to the state of our ability to track, trace, and assist the prosecution and possibly detention of alleged criminals. How can the state of this effectively if it doesn't have a realistic and up-to-date record of everybody within our borders? Dear friends, it is a betrayal of the basic human rights of migrants themselves. We want migrant entrepreneurs to come to South Africa, but we want them to be bringing in scarce skills and serious investments in our country. The rebuilding of many of our industries and industrial areas that have become abandoned and gone into disrepair, including places such as the Vaal Triangle in the southernmost parts of Gauteng, reaching up to Babelegi in the northernmost part of the provinces, will not happen by wishing it into existence. If foreign money wants to be involved, then let it come here legally and let it help us fix South Africa. One thing that we will not have in this nation is that the operating of salons, domestic services, and spa shop is a specialized skill. It is not. These jobs must be reserved exclusively for South Africans. You will not dare try to drive to Poland and open a spa shop and think that kind of nonsense will be allowed. Let the Polish take care of the Poles, the French take care of the French, and South Africans take care of South Africans. Entry-level jobs must be reserved for South Africans. And those immigrants who want to work in high-level jobs must bring some skills that employers cannot find amongst the talent pool of South Africans. Over the years, our education system has declined. The state of the labor force has deteriorated, even ever-declining membership. But leaders of these structures have become MPs, ministers, and deputy ministers. They have used our people, our school kids, and our workers as stepping stones for their own narrow advancement. That is yet another betrayal by the unions. Friends, our laws must be respected by all, as they are what gives effect to our constitutionality enshrined human rights. That is what a party that cares does for its people. It protects them and creates opportunities in an environment for them to thrive. That is why we believe so much in the insourcing of vulnerable laborers such as cleaners and security guards. Insourcing provides dignity to the most downtrodden by removing the hyena tenderpreneurs, ensuring that those workers are employed directly by the organizations. When I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, I didn't just talk about insourcing, I did it. We cannot be a party that continues the betrayal of the human rights of South Africans and those who live amongst us. If that's what you want from our party, then if you feel that you don't want that from your party, you are most welcome to really go somewhere else. This cannot really be your home. During the recent local government elections campaign, ActionSA promised that insourcing would be done in every government in which we are involved. We have secured that agreement in Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, and Johannesburg. Whilst we are not leading the political portfolios that might reflect that agreement, we will continue to push hard for it to be started in Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, and continued in Johannesburg. Actioners, friends, and people of the world, let us accept that we've been failed. For 28 years, the ANC and other political parties have failed us. Having accepted that, let us acknowledge that we have it within us to restore our fundamental human rights and our dignity. I'm telling you, we have it within us to change the narrative and change the lived reality of everybody in South Africa. Not all is lost. We have an opportunity to restore the human rights and dignity of all those who live and reside in South Africa. 2024 is that opportunity. 2024 is our opportunity to get rid of those who have betrayed us once and for all. Actioners, friends, and people of the world, let us accept that we have been failed. For 28 years, the ANC government and political parties, as I've already indicated, has definitely and most definitely failed us. I would also like to, in closing, share with you some of the results of the recent elections now that we are in government. I'm very happy with the work of our MMCs across how the metros are doing. Johannesburg Safety MMC, present here this morning with us, David Tembe, in Johannesburg. Has restarted Operation Buya Mthethwa, a program intended to restore the rule of law in our cities. In Ekurhuleni, Safety MC Tohim Seki in Ekurhuleni has recently launched the same. Johannesburg Economic Development MMC Nkulimbundu in Joburg is finalizing the informal trade policy and will soon restart the inner city revitalization program. This program, we seek to rebuild our inner cities, making them attractive spaces to live and work. Tshwane Economic Development MMC, Andre Lulron, is leading the revitalization of the Tshwane market and is reconnecting the city with serious private sector stakeholders such as the banks and property investors. Joburg Transport MMC, Funzi Ngobeni, MMC relaunched ActionSA with the Joburg Roads Agency and is fast-tracking the revitalization of Metrobus as well expanding of the Rea Vaya service to our communities. Tshwane MMC for Housing, Abel Tau, is leading the charge in providing decent accommodation to people of Tshwane, including those who are affected by natural catastrophes such as flooding, which happen regularly in the low-lying areas of the city. Under ActionSA, we have already begun delivering our 2021 election promises. Taken together, what we have shown and will seek to achieve shows as a political party that understands the plight of all South Africans, has a plan to improve the material conditions of the present day, and has a vision of how in the medium to long term, how to address these issues. 2024 is our opportunity to restore. It is our opportunity to build. It is our opportunity to build a truly inclusive society in which all South Africans live, benefit, and thrive. 2024 is our last chance. We cannot fail. We dare not fail. And we will not fail. We have to come out with plans to improve the material conditions of the present day and have a vision on how to do this, as I say, in the long term. So, fellow South Africans, I appeal to you as we reflect on this day, 62 years ago, before I was actually born, my mother was present with me because I was born for a few months later. Let us reflect on this day and say, what are we going to do to correct and restore our dignity and the human rights enshrined in our Constitution? 62 years ago, when our people tried to restore their dignity, they were butchered by the National Party government. Today, 28 years into our democracy, we have an ideal opportunity to change our conditions without burning our churches, our clinics, and burning tires out there. We appeal to all of you actioners, as John Moodey has indicated. Let us ensure that 2024 comes. ActionSA is going to be the government of this country. It is possible. It's all in our minds. It's all in our minds. Because sometimes, and most of the times, we allow our minds to dictate negative things. I strongly believe, and I don't take things for granted. I know the plight of our people out there, the lived experiences. It's hard. It's hard. Sometimes you feel despondent. But, fellow South Africans, we cannot afford to fail, and we do not fail. Let us restore our dignity come 2024. And you, the people in this room, and the millions out there at home, let us ensure that we bring back dignity, because it is my wish, it is my dream, it is my aspiration that the work that we are doing today, come 28 years later, post-ANC government, we want to see an explosion of doctors, of engineers. We want to restore the dignity of South Africa. This gentleman next to me sits on our Senate, and we've given him a task. We've given him a task to come out with what Senate calls the South African dream. And we will share with you one of these days what the South African dream is. For me, just in simple terms, it's a dream 28 years later that all of us, those who want to work, must have the opportunity to work. We want to see children of Sharpeville going to school here in Sharpeville, getting the same education as the same education that a child will receive in Sandton. We want to see our women walking freely, day and night. Unlike today, where we're the rape capital of the world. But I know it is possible. And working with you, we've demonstrated with the recent local government election that we are going to succeed. Victory is on our side. And what is also more important, God is on our side to save this country. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Umashabalo abamaziyo abazange bambone. Umashabalo abazange bambo abazange